Well, for more on the latest flare in tensions in the Middle East between Israel and Lebanon, we can speak now to Joseph Bahout. He's a professor and the director of the American University of Beirut's Institute for Public and International Affairs. Thank you very much for joining us here on France 24 this Friday.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. First of all, just why have we witnessed this uptick in violence right now, and why were the sites which were hit singled out for attack?
I think the timing is important this time because, of course, it's directly linked to the recent escalation in Jerusalem and the Temple Mount, what's happening there. So there's a need for Palestinian factions in Lebanon, Hamas and the Islamic Jihad, but also of Hezbollah, who is very closely linked to these factions, to show solidarity with what's happening inside Israel. Hezbollah did it smartly, as your correspondent was saying. There was a sort of plausible deniability by Hezbollah by letting the factions operate from South Lebanon, but not taking direct credit for that. Israelis also were keen on not implicating Hezbollah directly, so they quote-unquote disculpated Hezbollah very quickly and pointed out to Hamas. So this is as far as Hezbollah is concerned. Now, the other question that has been very much agitated yesterday on the timing, which I think is not very sound or solid, is relating this flare-up to the recent Iranian-Saudi deal. Yesterday, the two foreign ministers were signing this deal in Beijing, and people tried to link that, saying that a faction in Iran operating through Hezbollah and the Islamic Jihad is trying to torpedo this deal. I think this is really far-fetched, but if there's a message here, it would be to say that what is happening in the Gulf is happening in the Gulf, and what is happening inside Israel is still of a concern for both Hezbollah and Iranian proxies in the region.
We understand that Hamas targets were the ones that were singled out mainly for these Israeli strikes. Do we have any clearer idea of the extent to which this Israeli response has weakened Hamas?
On the Lebanese front, I don't think it was very effective, and it was not meant to be. The Israeli forces were very keen on bombarding certain sites in the south of Lebanon at the frontier, close to the border, in a, I could say, symbolic way, just to show that they would retaliate. But the strong retaliation is now taking place in Gaza or on Gaza and other Palestinian territories. I think that the confrontation with Lebanon, all confused, Hezbollah and the Palestinian factions, has a very strong ceiling and a very clear ceiling. I don't think that any of the two parties want to go to an escalation. Hamas wanted to say, we can operate from Lebanon, but we will stop there. Hezbollah said, we can open up this front if you continue to do that, but we will not. And Israel has done a sort of show by bombarding certain sites without really harming anyone. And now it's turning its real attention and focus on what's happening in Gaza. So I think the Lebanese front, except if there's something that spills over or spills out from control, is now calm and under control, and the real show or battle is to be watched inside Israel and on the front of Gaza.
Now, how might this cross-border violence that we've seen impact the already fragile government in Israel of Prime Minister Netanyahu?
Of course, I'm not living in Israel, but what I can perceive is a dual effect and a contradictory effect, I would say. First of all, it's showing that the Netanyahu coalition, which is very fragile and fluctuant, is in need for some external action in order to strengthen the bonds between its members. But at the same time, also, I think that many in Israel would not like to see a sort of real spiral of violence between Israel and the Palestinian neighbors, or with Lebanon, of course. And this could play against an already very fragilized Netanyahu government, very much contested by the inside. I would add to this, although also I'm not living in Israel, I don't, granularly follow that, but also I think that the strained relation between the military establishment and the government and Netanyahu and his team is something also that has to be kept in mind. I think that these relations are not exactly at the best of what they could be or they should be. So I think that Netanyahu also is wary of not straining too much a military institution with which relations are not excellent today.
Okay, Joseph Bahout in Beirut, thank you very much for joining us here on France 24. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.